Hello, everyone. Welcome to my very first live. My name's Rhonda. I'm a hobby colorist, and I created this group for friends to gather and color and chit chat. So, welcome. Today, I am coloring from this lovely book, Fairies and Mushrooms Jubilee, by Eileen Vick, who, by the way, also has a very nice YouTube channel. She's live every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you would have to check if you're in a different time zone, what time to look for her. Now, this is my very first broadcast, and I have a lot to learn. So be patient with me. And if you see areas that I can improve, I'm open to suggestions. I'm going to be using these pencils. These are Woomer pencils. They come in a nice little metal orange case. They're a budget set, and they're a very nice budget set, in my opinion. I use them a lot, and I enjoy them. So, yeah, so the chat is open. Anyone who wants to pop in, say hello. This book is amazing. I love it. Eileen Vick's books are all very nice. So I'm just going to start coloring here, and when you pop in, just say hi, and I'll be sure to interact. I hope everyone is having a lovely day. I've been coloring my whole life. I just at a certain age graduated from crayons to colored pencils and kept right on going. If you'd like to tell a little bit about when you started, what kind of medium you like to use. I'm a pencil lady. Since I went from crayons to pencils, I've just always been pencils, pencils, pencils. If you catch the live stream, you're welcome to join the chat. Or if you watch afterward, you can leave comments. Tell us a little bit about who you are, how you got into coloring, how long you've been coloring. Let's share a little bit of your story with us. Get acquainted. I'm not a professional colorist by any means. I don't have a degree, never went to school for art. I just enjoy it. It's relaxing and fun. And I do color almost every day. Also, if you would kindly in the comments or in the chat, if you would not mind letting me know how the lighting is, if the music is too loud, if you like the music, or if maybe I should not have music going. I'm open to any and all suggestions. Anything that you think might make my channel better. I'd like to grow this. We started in a small town in Pennsylvania. And it was just a group of friends that would meet at a public library. We had a little room all to ourselves and a nice big long table where we would sit and bring our coloring books and spread our supplies out and just all color and chit chat. And so I came up with the idea, maybe I should go online with this, and that way we can reach more people. And it also saves us the hassle of getting out in the car in the cold weather and everything that goes with that. I hope everybody had a nice holiday. Mine was quiet. We had our family get together a few days before Christmas. And so I had a nice quiet day with my cats and my coloring books on Christmas, which was nice. That's good for me because I'm an introvert. I don't know if you all like crowds and people or if you're more introverted like me. I'm just happy being at home. Don't these Woomer pencils go down nice? They're nice soft pencils. Not Prisma soft, but soft as budget pencils go. So I'm going to be on here every Monday morning from 10 a.m. until 12:30 noon. I figure if I'm on for a good 2.5 hours, it can fit more people's schedules. You might be able to pop in for a few minutes at the beginning, or maybe you're free closer to the end. I also thought this might be a nice way and I'm kind of piggybacking off of Eileen Vick's idea that there's a place to go if you don't get out of the house much that you can come hang out with friends here, have a little bit of social interaction. I like this color that I chose for the mushroom. What do you think? It's not red, but I think it looks like a nice natural color that a mushroom would be. Mushrooms are fascinating to me. I always have been fascinated with them. So many different kinds. I have friends who forage too. I used to be a little braver about that in my younger days, but I guess it sunk in that, yeah, people can die for real from getting the wrong kind of mushrooms. So I kind of put that hobby away. Now I just admire them and walk on by. I never ingested a whole lot of them, but I have tried one or two that I was fairly certain about identification. So, what are your favorite kinds of pictures to color? I like fantasy and nature. Fantasy being like movie monsters and dragons and angels and fairies and things like that. And nature scenes like with mushrooms and woods and water. We might have a visitor here in a minute. I one of my cats likes to make herself comfortable across my coloring book, and she better behave herself, or she might be in the bedroom pretty soon. So we'll see. Grayscale books are nice because the shading is already done for you. So if you're not real good at shading, and blending and those so forth. It helps. If you've been coloring for a while and you have a favorite artist or a favorite collection of books that you'd like to share with us, we could talk about that. As I mentioned already, I really like Eileen Vick's books. And all of hers are grayscale. I color almost every day. Because I just enjoy it so much. I'll put a little something on YouTube or put some music on and just sit here with my pencils and relax for a little while, as long as life allows. In between the responsibilities and having to be an adult sometimes. I have pulled the reins in on myself as far as purchasing coloring stuff, because if I live to be 100, I will never color half of what I have or use half of the pencils that I have. Half the fun of coloring, I think, is the shopping and collecting of coloring supplies and coloring books. And then if you're a person that likes to use different kinds of media, there's even more stuff to collect. For me, it's pencils. I occasionally use a set of markers that a friend bought me. And if I have really tiny details, I'll use gel pens, because I think it's easier to stay in the lines. With gel pens. And I like my white pen too, to put accents on things like water or just things that you want to make look shiny. Backgrounds, once upon a time and for a long time, were my arch nemesis because there's so much. Like some pages, there's so much background. For example, like on a mandala, you'll do the design and then you'll have so much. There's not a lot of background in these books, but with some pictures, you have the picture here and then there's so much background. And to do those with pencil, it takes forever. If you want it to look nice anyway, because you have to go in small circles, because if you just do this, then you're going to have a bunch of lines. So rather than do this across the whole page and have a bunch of lines, I found a hack for that. And it's called soft pastels. And some people say you have to use a fixative with soft pastels, but I've not found that to be true. Because the way I use them is I'll take a box cutter knife and scrape a little bit of the soft pastel off and make like a dust of the color on the page. And then take my finger to just create the background. And I push it into the page a good bit and I don't overdo it with it. So I haven't had any problem with it wearing off or brushing off onto the page next to it. Some people like to use a fixative, but I don't like to expose myself to any harmful things that I don't necessarily have to. So I just do without the fixative. Most of what I learned about coloring, I learned on YouTube. YouTube is my go-to for a lot of things in life. And I saw an article or a YouTube video where an artist was using soft pastel like that. And she even used, I guess, Moshi tape over top of the areas that she had already colored before she put the soft pastel dust down. But I didn't do that. I was just careful about where I dusted the page with it. Maybe next Monday I'll show you some of the backgrounds that I did with soft pastel. So if anybody's here and you would like to pop into the chat and say hello, I would love to hear from you. Is anyone else counting down the days till spring? I do not like the cold weather, although the next few days are supposed to be nice and mild around here. So that'll be a good little break from the frigid cold that we've had. Do you ever color a picture and then think you're done with it, and then open it back up again and look at it and think, I could do better? And so you get your pencils back out or your paints or whatever it is that you use, and you add to it. And you shade a little bit more, and you blend a little bit more, and you put down another layer. Does anybody else do that? I have a few times, especially with some of the pictures that I've done going back a few years ago, because it happens subtly and over time that you improve with this. so subtly that you don't realize it at the time that you're getting a little better and a little better. And then you go back and look at some things that you did years ago and you think, wow, I could do better. Some of those things I just leave them as is because I like to be able to take a little trip down memory lane and look at what my coloring used to look like and what it looks like now. It's fun to see your progress. But sometimes I like to fix them too. It's pretty satisfying. I hope that my channel can be a blessing to somebody. I hope that there will be people who enjoy it, enjoy watching me color, enjoy the company, though there doesn't seem to be much happening on here right away, but good things take time. I like to turn my pencil so that I don't have to sharpen it all the time. And pencils are not cheap. Even the cheaper sets are not really cheap, and sharpening grinds your pencil away to a certain extent. So I try to avoid sharpening more than I really have to. How's the camera angle, guys? How's the lighting? You see I go over it and back over it to get lots of color down. Little spaces. Little spaces in between the dots. few things that we perceive as being white are seldom actually white. That's something that took me a little while to learn with coloring. Because things like snow and eyeballs and dots on mushrooms that you think of as white, if you take a white pencil and color them, it just doesn't look realistic because in reality, they're not really white. It's another little tidbit that I learned somewhere along the line on YouTube. Somewhere. Something I never thought about before. And then I heard that and I'm like, huh. Yeah, I guess. And so now I have come to where I'll use an off-white type of color or a light gray. Which is probably what I'm going to do with these mushroom dots. Oh, that looks cute. Cute little mushroom cat. Now you see all these little dots on the wings. I think I'm going to use a gel pen at some point to make those pop. Pink Matter. These some of these budget pencils are very hard to read. I don't know if you can see that or not. But it says Pink Matter. And I don't know if I believe that color rating. You see those stars? 5 stars is supposed to be the most color fast or the most light fast. I don't think I believe that because, first of all, it's a budget pencil. Second of all, this is pink. And the colors that do not hold light fastness very well are generally pastels and in particular pinks. But they're still nice to use. I like my Woomer pencils. Little short strokes. And coloring in little circles. Now there are ways that you can use pencils to create texture. which I am admittedly not very good at. But I haven't, to be honest, practiced a lot on it. I like my pictures to look more smooth. But with certain types of fabric or things like hair or animal fur or feathers, sometimes you want lines to give it texture. I have a little bit of work to do in that particular area because it's something that I'm not very good at. You see how the grayscale does your shading for you? It's part of the reason why I love grayscale books so much. Now I will come back through with a darker, slightly darker shade of pink and color in those darker areas. But even if I didn't do that, the shading's done. Makes it very easy. Who else loves a nice, relaxing morning coloring? I have a feeling there will be a lot of us here who enjoy it. Then I like to put down nice light layers. Some people, when they color, they're very heavy handed. But I like to put down very light layers and then go back over it several times, as you noticed I did on the mushroom caps. Go over it once and then back over it again a little bit and over it again a little bit. I think it turns out nicer if you do layers. If you have a habit of being heavy handed and you want to practice at doing lighter layers, like I'm suggesting, what you want to do is move back on your pencil. And it takes away some of the urge to, and some of the ability to, push so hard. So if you're here watching now, or if you watch this in the future at some point, I'm going to ask a little favor. If you like what I'm doing, please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. And that way you'll get notifications every time I go live. Little reminder to come hang out. And if you wouldn't mind, please hit the like button, because I want to try to grow this channel. And you would be doing me such a kindness to just hit that like button. It helps boost the algorithm and puts me out in front of more people that way. I'm glad I chose pink for the dress. I was tossed up between pink or blue. I think pink is good. Anybody want to talk about your favorite color? I love purple. However, I find that in my pencil sets, the ones that get worn down the quickest are the greens and the browns, because I do so many nature pictures. I know many people who do a lot of coloring end up having problems with their hands. And I think that part of the reason for that is because they have a habit of pressing so hard. Easy does it. Your hands will thank you, and so will your finished product. But there are, just so you know, exercises on YouTube for your hands. If you're one of many people that has trouble with your hands, there are exercises on YouTube that you can do. Just look up hand exercises for sore hands or something like that. They do help. I used to have a lot of trouble with trigger thumbs and trigger fingers. If you know what that's like, that's can be miserable. And it has helped me with that. Yay, I have a viewer. Say hi in the chat, honey. That is a lovely shade of pink. Pink Madder. Madder. I think that is exactly the perfect color for her dress. And I will remind you again, whether you're watching the live stream or if you go back and watch this later, if you would kindly like and subscribe so that you can boost my algorithm and get me pushed out to more people, that would be incredible of you. Also, leave comments, or if you're joining us live, pop into the live chat. I like softer pencils. Some people like the harder leads. I like soft pencils. But the drawback to it is that they get dull very quickly. So that's why I like to turn my pencils occasionally and kind of make a point without having to sharpen as often. I used to hear a lot about wax based pencils and oil based pencils. And I guess the thing anymore is it's discouraged to use that kind of terminology because, in truth, all of the pencils use a certain amount of oil and a certain amount of wax. And whether the lead of a pencil is soft or hard depends on the wax to oil mix. So a softer pencil is going to have more of a wax base, more wax than oil, in other words. And then a pencil with a harder lead is, of course, going to have more oil base than wax. There's pros and cons both ways. A harder lead needs sharpened less often. They hold their point better. But these soft pencils, I love them because they just put down so much color. You don't have to press hard at all. Just go over nice light layers and just go over again and again and again. Good coloring is a process. It takes time. Which is part of the reason why it's so relaxing. Because you just have to slow yourself down. Unplug from the rush of life. And just go about something nice and slow. Forces you to just kind of take a little breath. I'm looking forward to when this gets posted, going back and seeing some of the comments that everyone leaves. So please do me a favor, and if you like something that you saw on here, or if you have any suggestions, leave some comments. Let's have some discussions. I'm pretty excited about this. I'd love to see my channel grow. I'd like to hear from people in other parts of the country and maybe even other parts of the world. And things that you all have learned about coloring, or what kind of medium you like to use, what kind of books you like to color in. Such a fun hobby. You know, there are people that even sell their work, sell their colored pages. I've had people suggest that I do that with mine, but I really think they're just being kind because I'm just a hobbyist. I don't think they're good enough to sell. I just do it because it's fun. Violet pink. Now let's go back over here and make it pop a little bit. I watch some of these people on YouTube that give tutorials for coloring. And I never cease to be amazed at how fast some of the people work. They just zip right through it. Takes me forever. I don't know if you can see that or not. I may have to reposition my camera. What do you think about that? Is it too far away? Let me know in the comments. Oh, yeah, that looks nice. Well, you see, I'm just going real light and blending the brighter pink down into the pastel pink to add some effect. And the areas that are gray, that are more gray, is where I'm going to go with this brighter pink. And how much color I add depends kind of on where I want it to pop more and where it's going to be more subtle. And just kind of gauge it where I go as I go. I like to use blender pencils sometimes, but one thing that I've learned is it's not a very good idea to use it on, I mean, you can, but to use it on grayscale can cause the gray ink to kind of blend in with your color, and it can really turn into a muddled mess. I learned it the hard way. So I try to avoid it with grayscale as much as I can blender pencil. It can do some really nice things to other pages, but with grayscale, it's something you don't want to, unless if somebody has a way to do it without making a mess out of things, let me know. But I have always had it turn into something that I really didn't want it to look like. I tend to do these highlights very, very lightly because once you have the color down, it's nearly impossible to get it back up. So you don't want to put more color down than what you want. And if you don't have enough color, you can always add more to it. It's a lot easier to add to than to take from. Now, I'm going to go back over with my pink matter to blend this together. See how that's blending? It gives it a nice smooth look. Now, I'm going to lift this up so you can see what I did there. Do you see how I blended it? Then I'm going to do the same with the rest of this dress. I think we need a little more dark down here. Yep, that's it. You wanted a little, the darker pink, you wanted a little bit darker up here toward the crease. Because the dress is gathered there, so it's going to give it that look like it would when the fabric is pulled together. A little bit darker up there. And then go down lighter. To just kind of fill in the darker areas. One of the things that I find most satisfying about coloring is when I can make something just look real. And I like the way this dress is going. Where it's gathered and tucked, giving it that kind of look. Easy does it. And now back to the pink matter to pull it together. See how that blends as I'm going back over it now with the lighter color? How it sort of ties together. Perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. I like the way the dress is turning out. Back over and back over and back over again. Putting down more and more layers until it looks just exactly the way you want it to look. I'm going to bring the camera down a little bit so that you can see how this turned out. I am pretty pleased with this dress. Not trying to make you seasick here, but you see the way I blended the dark pink in with the light pink? Yeah, I like the way that turned out. All right. So how's the lighting, guys? Leave comments. Leave suggestions, please. Like I said, I'm brand new at this, and any advice you want to offer will be appreciated. My goodness, it's 12 o'clock already. Well, I've got half an hour yet to be live here. Let's do some green. This is deep cobalt green. Nice light layers. Nice little circular motion to avoid those lines that you don't want. Now I could get real detailed with these leaves also and put veins in them, and maybe I'll mix a little yellow in to give some highlight on it. But I don't think I'm going to get real detailed about this because it's part of the background. And I want the focus to be more on the fairy. So I'm going to do a little bit of something with the leaves, but I'm not going to really go overboard too much with details on the leaves because they're just kind of back there. The fun thing about grayscale is that it's fairly easy to just draw things in. For example, this just kind of looks like a little gray blob down here. But for me, it's going to be a leaf. And so you can just kind of, I'm not good at drawing, but if you follow the lines, you can do things. Yeah, and I am really not good at drawing at all. I suppose I could get good at it if I practiced, but the desire just really isn't there. I'm happy to be a colorist, let somebody else do the drawing, and I just give it life by coloring it in. Yeah, it's pretty easy to lose track of time when I'm just sitting here in my happy place, picking colors and figuring how to blend this and that. So relaxing. I just love my hobby. I looked at the clock and could not believe it was 12 o'clock already. Seems like I've been at it for half an hour. Surprise. Now let's do some. I do not know why they came up with this particular name for this particular color. If anybody can clue me in on this or happens to know why, but this color is called Hooker's Green. I'm not kidding. I don't know if you can see it or not, but these pencils are so hard to read. Honest. Honest to goodness, it does say Hooker's Green. So, I might just go out for a walk this afternoon. It's not as cold out as it's been. Sun's even peeking out a little bit here. Get outside and breathe some fresh air. Does a body good. That is a very nice shade of green. I just wonder why they gave it that particular name. Well, I've had a lot of fun producing this live stream today. I had one little viewer pop in for a little bit, and that was my boyfriend. So I thank him for that. Nice to have somebody supportive. But it would be even more fun if we had a group of friends that popped in to chat while I'm doing this. So I hope that when word gets out and everybody gets used to the fact and remembers that I'm here on Mondays, and hopefully as the weeks go by, more people will pop in. I hope so. So if you're watching this after the live stream, please leave a like. And if you like what I'm doing, subscribe. And drop a couple comments. Offer suggestions or just comment on something that you liked about the video. Because that helps to boost my algorithm. Helps to put me out there so that more people can find me. I sure do appreciate the love and support. I thank you guys for being here if you're watching after the fact. Okay, that looks like a pretty decent place to stop. For anyone who pops in to watch the replay, thank you. And hopefully more people can join us for live stream on Mondays. This is every Monday from 10 a.m. until 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name's Rhonda, and I'm signing off for today. Bye.